Hey, how are you? It's Rick from Christianity for Backsliders. Hope you enjoyed my recent vlog about my backsliding journey. Today I'm going to talk about regret. Regret's kind of a big one for all of us. We all experience it. Before I do that, if you like the video, please subscribe, share, click the like button. I'd like to try and reach other people who this might help. Romans chapter 3, verse 8 is a great scripture. It's something I'm going to mention most days when I start. And it talks about the demonstration of God's love. God demonstrates his love. The demonstration of love. Jesus, whether you believe it or not, or like it or not, there's more literature on him that has been written than any other historical figure in the past. And so he really commands our attention, certainly as somebody that we need to work out who was he, did what he do, count, did it, was he crazy or whatever. One of the things that happened that's also highly documented, 500 people saw it, maybe some were delusional, he rose from the dead. That's good news. Because somebody's done it, somebody's been there and done it. You know, we're all a little bit apprehensive of what might lay. I'm not so much scared of dying, but I'm apprehensive as to, moving into the next stage of life. Then it goes on to say, he demonstrates his love in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And that's the message that I want to keep saying is, Christ died for us. That's a demonstration of God's love. God deals with our sin. I used to be a pastor, I mentioned that. I love saying this. When I go out, even still I go to some sports bars, etc., and drink with friends and see friends, and always at the permission of my wife and family. But, it's nice to still see them. And when I see them, the big joke was, Rick used to be a pastor. I get introduced as that. And ironically enough, if somebody needs to talk about something, they'll probably come and see me just quietly. And so I can still put on that pastoral hat. But I take great joy in saying I used to be a pastor. Now I'm just a friend of sinners because I experienced that. And my journey in backsliding, we'll talk about my backsliding or my prodigal son slide that I went through. But today, I want to talk about regret. To premise and underline talking about it, I want to talk about 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 22. Corinthians is an interesting thing. It talks about foundations for living. And in this particular chapter, it's talking about schisms and how somebody might say, I'm an evangelical, I'm a Protestant, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian. I haven't quite figured out who's got it all right, but, I'm comfortable with everybody. I don't want to focus on what schism I'm part of, but I am part of Christ, and I believe in Jesus Christ. And in talking about that foundations for living in this particular verse, he talks about how God's given us authority. There's something that belongs to us. And it's this. It's authority over the world, death, present and future, and life. And one of the most notable things about it is it doesn't mention the past. The past does not belong to us. And it's kind of an interesting, and I think I'd like to talk about that. Some people would say, oh, regret's good, regret helps you learn. And if you learn from something and move on, then regret has a place and your past has a place. But you can't live in your past. I had a sermon a while ago, and it was kind of the thing that got my attention. I remember it so clearly in 2017. And this guy was talking about that scripture specifically, but he talked about 3 things that can rob you of the things that belong to us, our sonship and our sense of, intimacy with God, our sense of not feeling miles away. And 3 things were, number 1 was guilt. Guilt I get. Now, if I'm guilty about something, I've done something wrong, that's kind of, The problem is guilt lingers on and we never resolve it. Number 2 was shame. I understand shame. I live in the Philippines and it's a on a shame culture. So sometimes even if I haven't done the wrong thing, I'll feel guilty. So I'm very aware of that. But the third thing that he brought out, and this is what grabbed my attention, was regret. 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 And I started to realize, for me, I was so regretful of so many things. I'd let my ex-wife down, I'd let my kids down, I was broken, they were shattered, you know, that I'd caused grief, etc. Again, I don't think it was all my fault, but, you know, it takes two to tango, so I'm not here to kind of justify myself and excuse things that I did wrong. But we still have to move on, even if we've done the wrong thing. And this is where regret can hold us, and I felt like shit. And I lived like shit because of it. It actually became like an anchor to keep me involved in doing things, you know, going to the bar, staying out late, womanizing, that I might have got over and moved on from a lot faster had I dealt with my regret. The interesting thing about regret is it's more subtle. Guilt and shame are pretty blunt, but regret is more subtle. It kind of chats away to you. It's like a music where it keeps looping into the same song. You don't notice it so much. My life, by focusing on regret, it kept me focused on the past, as maybe you're doing in the things you're working through. It's like a video just playing, or like a song, and look, oh, here we go again. Oh, thinking about that. And it always deals with the past. God has given us the present and the future. The past does not belong to us. Regret can be a short-term thing where we regret something and we change it. But we only have authority over the present and the future. We can affect that. We can make changes today. Jesus said, you know, live your life today and be happy about it, because sufficient, he talks about the evil, you know, sufficient is to deal with the evil of today. And really what he's saying is live one day at a time, live in the present. Read an interesting quote on regret that includes regret. And it says, many of us crucify ourselves between two thieves, regret for past and fear for the future. We have to deal with life in the present and the future. Christ has dealt with the past. The cross is dealing with the past. God, the past does not belong to us. We're free from that. And that was a revelation to me to move on from. I want you, just as I did, to make a decision today to turn off the past. If you're thinking about it, and if you're like me, you will, and you'll find that song playing and, oh no, I've listened to the same song. Oh, I'm not going to listen to that. That's past. I can't deal with that. Only God can. I want you to make a decision to turn that off and let God take you into new, greener pastures. Would you do that today? I want to encourage you to do it. Looking forward to the next time when I get to share with you, and I'll see you next week, because I'll be here. I'm very committed to doing this vlog. Again, subscribe, press the like button, and share it with others that it might help, who might be going through a backsliding time in their life, or if they don't know Christ, maybe they might like to listen to somebody who doesn't have a high, shot of myself in terms of who I am. I'm just somebody who believes in the wonder of Jesus Christ. God bless you. Take care.